So today's is on the 3 barriers to growth. Theme today is really performance, measuring the performance of your firm. And we talk a lot about growth in Wize Growth, which is what I head up, and at Wize Mentoring in general. And really, we're looking at the barriers to growth today, which might seem like a negative thing, but you've got to look at what the blockages are, as Ed Chan, one of the founders, would say. What are the blockages holding you back from growing? And if you can look at what they are and really hone in on those ones, that's how you will get that path to growth. So yeah, we'll dive in today. It is a bit probably more like from a top-down view. We don't go into heaps of detail today. So, if you've got a question about one of the 3 topics today, one of the 3 barriers to growth, please, we'd love to have a lively conversation in the chat below, because it is a very wide-ranging topic, which half an hour can't do justice, but hopefully it gives you a teaser. So we're dividing these sessions up into people, process, and performance. And this one's very much performance, the growth part of it. So yeah, so there's that photo of me, the biggest eyebrows in the world. I see them every time. Yeah, so the 3 barriers to growth are leadership, logistics, and marketing. So Kristy, just to pick your brain for a minute. The first one there, leadership, is one I'm really, really interested in. Can you explain to us in your own firm or in the firms you work with, how you've observed leadership or lack of leadership being related to growth, and why is leadership important? It's a very vague topic, which a lot of people might have certain associations with. So I'd love to hear you just get us started on that one.
Yeah,
why is leadership important?
Tim, even what we spoke about the other day in how I see the difference between management and leadership in Dr. Stephen Covey's book, where he talks about the manager takes the team into the forest and they just start cutting the trees down. They're not really sure what they're doing, but that's the task at hand for the day. Whereas a leader goes in and they take the ladder with them, they take the best tools, and they first go up and look ahead to build a strategy for the best way for the team to utilize their skills and time. And that's sort of the difference. We don't want to just be managing people ahead in any old direction because we want to get things done. We want to have some strategy behind us and look ahead by leading and creating leadership within our own teams as well. So it's not just headed up by one person. Everyone has their own level of leadership and accountability within the team, whether they're leading their own performance or they're contributing to the leadership and skills of the entire team. It's really important to really look at it from a big picture focus, not just a small day-to-day focus.
Yeah, I think with leadership, I like how you said it's about building up leaders in your firm as well. And I love how you make the distinction between leadership and or managing. But people who micromanage tend not to be good leaders. Leaders,
yeah, absolutely.
Don't you think there's this weird kind of thing about leadership? And I've really learned this from working closely with Ed and Jamie. I've been privileged to do that. Good leaders make other leaders, and bad leaders do not make other leaders. Does that make sense? So yeah, I think you kind of. I just want to tease that out of it. That was a point you were kind of saying. That one of the. I think
even we've had some great conversations with Thomas and Eng about empowering your team members in the training that you provide them, in the processes that you give them to be successful in the work that they're doing. It's really important to empower your people to be the best version of themselves in your business, because it allows them to grow personally and to deliver even better for your clients.
And you mentioned clients there as well. One thing Ed is fond of saying, and people on the call have probably heard him say it before, maybe multiple times, is if you don't manage your clients, they manage you. And it's not some kind of Nietzschean power struggle that he's kind of evoking there. Could you talk a little bit about what leadership looks like, Kristy, with clients?
Yeah, absolutely. It's providing the stability and structure for the clients, that they don't live in a world of chaos when they have you as their accounting or bookkeeping team. You know, it's a great example for us in Australia coming up to end of financial year. We're already able to prepare in our firm the end of year work items for some clients because we put ahead a schedule and a strategy, and the clients feel confident and comfortable that they're taken care of. They understand how to work with us to achieve their desired outcomes instead of being reactionary. And, you know, there's nothing worse than a client chasing you up for something because you hadn't, you know, articulated it to them, or you hadn't communicated with them that their work is being done, that it is on the schedule. We want to show them that we're proactive and we're planning ahead, and they can then mirror that in their own firm sometimes because they understand how great it feels to be supported by the right team looking after their financials. They can better deliver to their own client base as well. So it has this really great ripple effect.
Yeah, I don't know about other people on the call. I don't know enough about you, but for me, something you said there, Kristy, reminded me of this. For me, I was hesitant to lead because I didn't think my staff would like to be led, or I associated leadership with like micromanaging. I didn't think the clients would like to be managed, so to speak. And one of the things I learned pretty quickly was that actually most people do, like most employees do want strong leadership. They do want to be led. Because if there's a vacuum, who's in control? The loudest voice? They don't have the whole picture. Even the best meaning staff, in my experience, don't have the bigger picture, and they can't have the bigger picture. So again, it does become a bit of a struggle. And I've seen this in times toxic work environments are really a vacuum of leadership, and people start jostling. And so it's I think what does Ed say? He's like bad leadership or lack of leadership is very, very damaging. Or people in a position of manager who don't know how to manage or don't want to manage. Again, it causes bad management, bad leadership causes a lot of damage in firms. So we really do have, if you're an owner or if you're, you know, in a management position in your firm, you really have like an obligation really to get better at leading. And a lot of, there's so many symptoms that come out of bad leadership, so many symptoms that come out of good leadership. You know, a lot of people right now are worried about retaining staff because it's so hard to find them. And they just throw money at them, or they just say work whatever hours you want or work wherever you want, you know, when really what the employees in my experience are looking for is career progression. That's leadership, building out the team so there is career progression, having those conversations every 6 months, at least with the staff, about what their career progression is. That's leadership. But kind of managing everything so close to the chest that people never really get the responsibility and accountability to progress in their careers. That's not leadership, even though someone's kind of in charge there. It's kind of like that tyrant model. But and you mentioned Stephen Covey. Yeah. Sorry, Kristy.
Well, just more to that too, Tim, that you said, you know, with holding everything close to your chest or having a clear pathway for career progression for team members. When you have a vision, when you have your big, hairy, audacious goals and you know where your business is going, you can take your team along the journey with you. So they understand that right now in your business today, that higher level position may not be available, but within your plan, within your goals, there is progression to join the executive team, to join the leadership team, to be a team leader in production manager role or senior client manager role. It doesn't have to be available to them right now, but being able to have that conversation with them because you have a clear growth plan in place or a clear vision is really important. I know for us, we're still in our first team and will be for a while, but I have my senior production manager earmarked for my second team, and he knows that that position is there for him when he helps me fill out our first team fully. So, you know, it's really great to be able to have those conversations with your people because you have that clarity.
And I think an element of that, which we could tease out a little bit further before moving to the next one, is it's a medium to long-term focus. Kind of what you were talking about there was that long game. And again, I think that's an absolute core to being a leader, is being long-term focused. It's investing in the balance sheet. And my client managers who aren't owners in my own business, they now talk about making investments for the years to come. And that's, you know, that's longevity. That's people sticking around. That's retention. And it's also, you know, it is also them being good leaders. They're setting it up so the following year is going to be even better than this one. So, yeah. So, yeah, moving on to logistics, Kristy, we talk a lot about systems at Wize, a heck of a lot about systems, building a system, so that having an extraordinary system so you can have ordinary people or average people who can then achieve extraordinary results, withdrawing so that all the IP isn't in one person's head, and getting that IP documented, building that blueprint basically to run the firm and having the right tools for that. Could you speak to a little bit how, you know, and you could pick one or two of your favorite systems. We've got so many now in Wize, but maybe one or two of the systems that you implemented in your own firm, which made the biggest difference for you, and in terms of allowing you to grow. Bit of an open-ended question there for you, Kristy.
Yeah, look, honestly, the deep and narrow team has been the best implementation into our business, because I was just in a foundation planning session this morning with a new Wize growth member, and we were talking about the benefit of a deep and narrow team, of not just how it provides stability in your own business, but also for your team members. When they know there's a system and process in place and the load is shared, there's an interdependence within the team, they don't feel so bad if they need to take a day off because they're sick, or if they want to book holidays, they know that the work will be done. It's less important on one person being there every day, because the team has a system to follow. And whether that means the work gets to be 70% done because the senior is out for the day or week, there's still a system to follow. There's a process in place. So really implementing checklists, processes in our business for every work item to be known how to be done by anyone that comes into the business. Yes, they need to have some skills, some training, but systemizing your business so that anyone can complete the work, and also to provide the stability for people who are coming in new and they're unfamiliar. Knowing they've got the support of great systems makes it a much easier transition to feel a part of your team far sooner. So you get to see new hires in their best light quickly. And, you know, we talk about slow to hire, quick to fire. If we haven't given the people the right processes to follow, we might fire the right person at the wrong time. They might leave because we don't have the stability and structure. I think of how, you know, I've lost probably some people who could have been really good because I lacked the systems in my business. We didn't have a clear pathway to getting the work done consistently, or how to measure and manage. So, you know, the more you can invest in the logistics in your business, the more stability you can provide for the people and the processes, and again, the overall outcome for the clients.
Totally. And it's a classic example of like a quad 2 activity, isn't it? It's not urgent to build systems, but it is very, very important. And you know, as is so often the case, quad 2 activities tend to be like what Ed calls balance sheet plays, not P&L plays. And it's really easy, you know, with cash flow pressures, rising cost of living pressures, which is, yeah, it's really hitting us in Sydney now. I went shopping a few times recently, like just this week, and it was gobsmacked by how much like milk cost and ice cream and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it really is important to make these balance sheet investments for the long run. There's a bit of gold nugget here, and that is that you don't own your clients. They can walk at any time, although they are kind of, it's the goodwill in your firm. You don't own your staff. Thank God we don't have, you know, slavery, at least in Australia and America, you know. So you don't own your staff, you don't own your clients. They're your two biggest assets you don't own. What do you own? Your brand and your systems, your IP. And they're the two things that accounting firms tend to ignore the most. You know, so again, Ed's been running his firm, or not running it, he hasn't been running it for the last, you know, good time now, but his firm's been running for 30 odd years. It hasn't been the same people running that firm. You know, he's had a lot of longevity, don't get me wrong, but over 30 years, he's had different people come in there and run that business. And, you know, people come and go. And if all the IP and all the ways of doing things and best practices are locked up in people's heads, when they go, it causes chaos if it's not documented. So whenever you're putting out a fire, doing a quad 1 activity, an urgent and important activity, as Dr. Stephen Covey calls them, he's like the patron saint of Wize, really. Whenever you're putting out a fire, try to do a quad 2 activity as well. I've been encouraging all the firms I work with in one-on-one mentoring. Whenever there's a fire, document it, put it on the agenda for the weekly meeting, and review whether or not there was a void in your practice, in your SOP list, that would have, if it was filled, would have stopped that fire from occurring. So there's preventative actions as well as reactive. And if you can try to do preventative at the same time as reactive, and make it, how do you make quad 2 urgent and important? You do it in a weekly meeting. Put it on agenda. That it's now urgent. You're looking at it every week, you know. So yeah, don't just echoing everything you said, Kristy, just really don't put off investing in your business. And like all investments, or the investments that I'm used to, it's incremental improvement. We're not talking like Bitcoin or crypto or whatever it is. It's not like this. It's incremental improvement. It compounds is what happens. It compounds. The more you invest in it, it is invisible money, balance sheet play, but it does pay dividends. That's the paradox there. So I hope that makes sense. I'm using a lot of, I guess, accounting language there metaphorically, but I think with the crowd here, that should be well received.
Yeah, I think you're in the right room.
Yeah. I hope that makes sense, putting it that way. It really makes sense to me. Yeah, the McDonald's effect. Yeah, Ed talks about McDonald's sometimes. Yeah, and Sammy's definitely drinking the Wize juice there. Yeah, Ed always says you could have, like, you know, basically 16, 17-year-olds running a restaurant. You know, how incredible is that? Everything can be systematized. Even if you have a lot of advisory work or a lot of high-end type work, a lot of more complex work, you'd be surprised by how much you can systematize when you put your mind to it. You don't have to do it in a vacuum. We've got heaps of tools at Wize with the Wize Hub, which just gets better every month. Jamie's like just updating that thing, filling it with IP, and heaps of tools in the Wize Vault as well. So don't reinvent the wheel. Leverage off decades of trial and error that Ed and Jamie have done in their own practices, and really turbocharge the results from that. So yeah, the last one is one that we probably don't talk about enough here at Wize. Kristy, marketing. Could you talk a little bit about, we're talking about growth, and I think leadership and logistics and systems, they're really foundational to growth. You can't grow sustainably without that solid foundation of leadership and logistics. And that's actually how we do it at Wize. We measure. You can't manage what you don't measure. So you have to be looking at the Fab 5, at least monthly, you know, in the new Wize Hub. Before you're ready, you have to be using the capacity planner to make sure you're maximizing the productivity out of your staff, to make sure you have the right charge out rates, to make sure, you know, that the margins are correct. You don't want to scale chaos, because if you scale chaos, you get more chaos. It doesn't automatically at some threshold start to be good. So let's say that we're a few years down the track, however long it takes, and we've kind of implemented these things, we're happy and we want to grow. Can you give us a little bit of a taster, Kristy, on and Thomas as well, if you want to jump in, on, you know, the importance of marketing and in the spirit of having a system and not having it be done by you, maybe the difference between marketing and the traditional way that firms grow, which is very partner oriented. That'd be great.
I always think back to what Ed says of creating a garden that attracts butterflies and not needing butterfly catchers. When you create a garden, a great marketing stream, then you will have consistent leads coming into your business. You will have consistent referrals coming from other clients that you have, or even potential clients. They may not be ready, but they've seen your marketing material. And when they're catching up with a friend at a barbecue on the weekend, they say, oh, have you heard of Causbrook and Associates or TMS or Oasis? I think that'd be great, because you're always front of mind. And you know, we talk about we don't own our clients. They are at risk of someone else's better marketing material taking them from us. So there is an element of internal and external marketing as well that you want to look at. Internal, to maintain the relationships you have, keep your clients up to date. There'd be nothing worse than they get a really great marketing newsletter from another firm that tells them things that you should have told them. You should have been proactive in letting them know about deadlines or changes to regulations, but instead they open someone else's email. So you always want to be looking at how you can build out the stickiness to existing and potential clients in your firm. And I know that it's definitely a topic that Thomas is very passionate about.
Yeah, got to hear Thomas on something on
marketing
this.
drive. So I don't want to take up any more marketing talk.
No, thank you. That's helpful. Thomas, the floor's yours, bud.
I mean, we all have drank the Kool-Aid from Ed and Jamie. It's all about building up that garden that attracts the butterflies. I mean, as far as marketing is concerned, I've seen firms basically take two quite successful approaches. Either you have the time and you get lucky and you find the right outsourcing company to work for, like a provider for marketing. And I've seen plenty of firms have great success just finding the right company that can pretty much just handle it all for you. You know, they handle all your digital marketing, and that can be pretty cost effective too. And then other firms have been pretty successful actually building up an in-house operation within their firm. And the thing about building up that in-house operation within your firm is the way we approach marketing at Wize is no different to how we approach building the teams in a production team. You still need a deep and narrow design concept. You only accept it's in the form of marketing. You know, in marketing, instead of you still have your finders, minders, and your grinders. But in marketing, your finders are typically your strategy people. When you come across a person who has the expertise and they have the knowledge, the best thing that you can get out of this person is that you want them to be able to train your own team. You want them to be able to lay out the plan for your firm. You don't necessarily want to pay marketing strategists to also complete the work for you. That's something that was drilled into our heads by Ed. You know, the idea being that you want to sponge up all that good IP and strategy from the outside and bring it into your firm. And now you've got something that can keep producing again and again. And you only need to bring that strategist in to touch up your strategy, give you the lay of the land, and see what trends are moving forward. But look, aside from the logistics and putting a marketing team together, I think what underlines all of this is the approach in the first place. If you go about your marketing, you typically want to start thinking from your as foundational as your business model. Like, what sort of niche are you going to go after? What sort of industries are you going to go after? What sort of businesses are you going to go after? And if you can't define it in terms of, say, industry or professions, you might target certain motivations. You might be targeting people who invest in property as a means to create wealth. You might target people who grow their businesses through mergers and acquisitions. And I've seen heaps of successful firms target specific motivations as another firm would, you know, targeting a niche. So, you know, thinking from that point of view first, because you can't actually make much progress even if you paid another company to take care of the marketing for you, if you don't know who your ideal clients are, if you don't even know about your offerings for those clients, you know, if you don't have a product in mind and the actual clients in mind, then you kind of have already lost the battle, if that makes sense. So you get a niche or a segment of the market that you know you're going to go after, that you have your services offering for, and then, you know, whether you decide to go and have another marketing company do the work for you or build it in-house, I think you're going to find a lot more impact out of it. And that was drilled into our heads constantly by Ed and Jamie. You have to have some sort of focus. You have to at least try to have some precision in terms of which market you're going to go after. And because if you just approach it in a general sense, then you just pretty much run the risk of marketing your own firm as a commodity, as opposed to an actual advisor or a partner to your potential clients. They're going to see you as, oh, that's just another firm that provides bookkeeping or tax returns, as opposed to, I really want to work with this firm because they really know my industry really well. So I think we all have something a lot to add about marketing, and happy to share more, Tim.
Yeah, no, thanks, Thomas. And I think another element to it, I forget all the time, but it's so important, is that you're not just marketing your firm to potential clients, you're marketing it to existing clients, and your website, if it's website marketing, like for instance, it's quite public, you're also marketing to future employees and, you know, future acquisitions as well. It's your reputation. Someone said a brand is just a reputation at large, at scale. Brand is just reputation at scale, right? So yeah, so make sure you are putting your firm forward in the best light and not misrepresenting or underrepresenting yourself. And yeah, take it seriously, because more and more, you know, more and more of our life is going online these days. So obviously a lot of marketing's in online, but also if your niche is in real life, maybe you need to do some old school, you know, real life marketing as well. So yeah, it's a total big topic. We could do a whole series of like six of these clinics just on marketing. So we'll just leave it there for now. But in the spirit of scale, if all the growth up till now in your firm has come from you, how scalable is that if something happens to you, or if you want to withdraw a little bit from it, will the growth taper off? The answer is yes. You probably need to invest in marketing as well as the other two topics from today. So yeah, look, I hope it was a really quick kind of approach on all three of the barriers to growth there. So I really hope, thanks so much, Thomas and Kristy. I hope everyone got a lot out of it.